Good morning, everyone. Call the meeting to order at 9:05. And as far as the roll call, we've got everybody here except Wayne, but we expect to see him soon. First, I would like to amend our current agenda. I would like to add 106 Harbor View. We're looking at landscaping and a construction change. And I sent that to everybody, I think, last night. I hope I did. And that will be item 29. Did everybody get that?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. And we're also adding a nomination of John Gingrich, my neighbor, who would like to join us also. Team's getting bigger and bigger, so we will vote on that today, and that'll be number 30. So with that added, can I get a motion to approve our agenda for today?
I'll move to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Sounds unanimous. We've got an agenda. Item 2, move to approve the meetings from our minutes from the last meeting. Can I get a motion?
I'll move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sounds unanimous. So I suppose firstly, we will move to John Gingrich. Let's talk to him a little bit and decide whether we actually want him on our team. John, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Oh, he's backing out already.
He has to unmute. John, you there?
Okay.
Here he is.
Hey, John.
Hi. I'm not sure if you can see my image.
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
You can describe what you look like at the end.
I tried to get the video going, but haven't done Zoom in a while. Hi, everybody. My wife and I are new to Sudden Valley. We moved here in November of last year. And as Dan said, we are on Loganberry Lane, right next to him at 10 Loganberry. We're loving it up here. I am 66 years old. I'm retired. I was a tech supervisor at a big city hospital for many years. And then I worked at the public defender's office for the last 5 years, which was much closer to home in the San Francisco Bay Area. And then we retired to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and found out that we weren't high altitude and mountain people, desert people. So we moved back to the coast, loving it here, loving Bellingham for all of its beauty and the rain and everything. I bring to the architecture committee, and Dan knows a bit of this information because we've been hanging out doing things together. I bring a history of, I was a carpenter in my 20s, and I also picked up electrical and plumbing abilities. So I worked for a solar house building company back in the 80s, which was amazing because solar was just in its infancy at that point. So I can build basically anything. I'm really good at troubleshooting. So my career as an IT person allowed me to basically, that's what my job was troubleshooting everything under the sun. And I'm also very good at that with home building and renovations and all that kind of stuff. So I think I bring some really good strengths. I'm very practical. I can see things from multiple points of view. I don't have agendas other than, helping people find solutions. And that's pretty much what's going on. My son also moved here. He was in Portland, Oregon, so he's living in town and working at Best Buy Geek Squad. And so basically, we're just up here in the quiet Sun Valley hills and forest, and really enjoying being here. Hope to join the ACC. Thank you.
Well, that sounds pretty good. Any other comments or questions for John?
Yeah, I have a question. IT guy, I'm kind of surprised you weren't able to get the video going. On
It's,
Well, I haven't used Zoom in a while, and it's a new version, so I haven't figured that out yet.
you promise to get it worked out before the next meetings?
Oh yeah, I absolutely. There's no problem with that.
Anybody else?
I'll just say, welcome, John.
All right,
Thank you.
so let's vote to I guess move him forward to the board for their approval. So I make a motion to nominate John to move to the board for approval.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, it sounds like everybody.
John,
So
this is Ken Vink, I'll just say that you made a comment that we're loving the rain. I haven't heard that a whole lot from people that live up here, but having just come from California myself in the Central Valley where it gets to be 115 all summer and we don't get rain for 6 or 8 months at a time, I can agree. I understand what you're saying. It's nice to have a rain showers here and there. So
I'll
Oh, yeah.
agree there too.
You know it well.
thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Daniel,
John. John,
you.
you could now be a part of our discussions, but you cannot vote at this point until you're approved by the board.
Okay.
So please join us in discussions.
Thank you. I will.
Daniel,
Yes,
we've had somebody join.
okay.
Hi, Janice. Can you go ahead and unmute? Tell us what address you're here for. Janice Tucker. I don't see an address linked to her. Are you there? Hi, Janice. You were unmuted for a second. She may just be an observer, I'm not sure. Janice, are you here for an address? Okay.
I'm sorry, did I miss who Janice is here for?
I don't know. I don't see her
Okay.
connected to a particular address.
Okay. So we'll proceed.
Yeah, Janice, if you do want to speak, another person had this problem. If you'll leave the meeting and come back, you may be able to unmute at that time. Thank you.
Is John able to join us in conversations at this point, Diane?
John, are you able?
I can hear you.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
okay, good.
Yes.
I didn't know the distinction between panelist and
Yeah.
observer. Okay, moving forward, I would like to jump down to item 6. Exterior alteration paint. Any comments or questions on this one?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, sounds good. You are approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8, One Morning Beach Drive. Sunny?
Go ahead and unmute, Sunny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Sunny. Yeah, we're not necessarily opposed to this tree, but we we would like to see if this is going to be an ongoing thing, we would like to see maybe the president of the condo board give approval for this, and also because this tree, while it looks like it may have a problem, we're not sure, and we would like to see an arborist report. It looks like a healthy tree. We saw the line through the middle. I'm not exactly sure what that means, or if it means the tree is dying or dead. It looks fairly healthy. But the main point is that we need more buy-in from your whole community, rather than even if you're a board member. We need a little bit more than that for approval for cutting trees on condo property.
Okay, I will get the president, Erica Grace, to I guess she can email you, or what?
Yeah,
should
and if you're interested, you could have her just defer these decisions to us. If this is always okay with the board, we're happy to take on, but we don't want to approve this until we get full buy-in from the whole condo board, or the whole board.
The whole board?
Well, the president, I guess, would be able to speak for it. And also
Okay.
for a tree that looks, we can't tell if it's dead or not. I mean, we do our best, we go and visit it. But and it's because it's on condo property, I think we would really like to see an arborist report if the tree is a problem.
Okay. Do you want Erica Grace to email you, or how do you want her to contact you?
I guess she can email Diane.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
I have received an email from Erica Grace as the board president along with this, and I think I forgot to include that.
Okay.
But you're saying you want the entire board's approval, correct?
Well, the president would be fine. I assume the president could speak for the board.
Do you require an arborist report, or is it just on her work?
What do you think, team? Do we need an arborist report for condo tree removals?
Well, I think the condo needs to give approval. That's what we're covering with the president, but the arborist is an independent assessment of the health of the tree, which if that's what we're basing our decision on, then I'd say we need one.
Yeah, Daniel, I don't disagree with that. My question would be, is that property considered Sudden Valley property, or is it owned by the condo association?
It's owned by the condo association. It's right in between two buildings.
Yeah, I think I agree with Alan. Then we definitely need something from the condo association, something that shows that the condo association approved this. We wouldn't want to get caught in the middle of internal fight within the condo association. So I think we need that at a minimum, and probably an arborist report. And I would hope that the condo association would also want to see that before trees come out.
Well, it's the condo association that's asking for it to be removed. It's the people that are living there that, and the president has approved it and seen it herself. So she is in approval for it. So,
I think we just need some documentation that says the condo association has approved the removal of this tree, and that it's consistent with an arborist report. So I don't think anybody's objecting to it, right, Dan? I mean,
correct. Yeah.
so we need proper documentation.
Okay, so I have a letter on file from her.
So that will check one of the boxes, I think, but I think we would, if I'm not mistaken, I think we'd like to see an arborist report also.
Well, I agree with that. Do we just accept a letter from the president of the condo association, or do we want to see that the condo association took some action to remove this?
They would be the ones to order the arborist report. We wouldn't.
Right.
so can I, you would require the president to order the arborist report? It obviously has a problem. I'm not sure how bad it is. It is.
Yeah, and we're not either, frankly. And if it were just, one property, maybe we'd consider it, but because it's the whole condo, I think we would like to see the arborist report on that.
Okay,
So, Dan, could you make that motion as you stated it earlier?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we approve contingent upon an arborist report and a letter from the condo association.
Wait a minute, we would want to deny, we don't want to
Yes.
approve.
Oh, we
contingent.
deny because of that. So, all right, tell me what my motion should be then. I'm happy. to make it.
Daniel, help.
I'm sorry, I would have done it the same way. I guess we'll deny as,
So let me retry that. My
Okay,
motion
yeah.
would be to deny the request and or deny the application and request that the landowner resubmit with a letter from the condo association and an arborist report.
Does
Oh,
that sound right,
second.
Diane?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Sounds unanimous. Thank you, Sunny. I know this is a lot of hoops to go through, but it does a lot of people and, it's kind of a prominent tree.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 14, 12 Green Hill Road. I think we looked at this one earlier.
Daniel, I think Janice Tucker is speaking. Janice, are you there?
I am here.
Hi. Can you tell us what address you're here for?
Yes, I'm concerned about the property next door to us, 325 Sudden Valley Drive, that has trees marked yes, identified and looks
Okay, yeah,
like
I got your emails and Joel's responses, and we'll speak to you when we get to that item. Item
Perfect.
20.
thank you.
Right, thank you. So right now we're on item 14. This is the driveway slope with stairs. I wish Wayne were here because this is one of his favorite conversations. Dimitri, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Could you talk to us about, I wasn't quite clear on which area you were going to work on the driveway. You've got that section below the bottom swale, then you've got the section between the swales. Which part, what was your mitigation? Could you describe it, please?
So the mitigation so part of that bottom section beneath the first drain, that half of that is steeper than what's permitted. So it's just like a corner of that one. And there's other from last time I got pictures of where it's steeper and stuff. But to mitigate that, I was going to request to do a staircase on the side just for easier, safer access. And then as far as the driveway, just cut grooves for more traction in the concrete.
Yeah, that's where I wasn't clear where you were going to do that. Was that whole, what I would consider the middle section?
Yeah. So
so-
yeah, the narrow part of it.
I'm pulling up that drawing right now.
Pretty much alongside whatever the on the drawing, if you look at the stairs, that bottom section.
Okay, where under your variance request, I see the drawing with the different slopes on the driveway.
Yeah.
So are you talking about grooving that whole section there where those numbers are?
Yeah. That was one of the concerns. I don't personally, I don't know if it'll help much, but maybe. The staircase is probably going to be the best mitigation, but
Mm.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it would help for an icy driveway.
Yeah. And to the icy driveway, I did try, this driveway is sloped sideways also. So I did try driving up it with a 4x4 truck, and it will go forward, but then it goes sideways. So either way, it really doesn't do much good. But again, if it's a little bit of ice, I think it'll help. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 15 is already, I think, pretty steep, and that's why we're kind of pushing you back on this one a little bit. Team, I think that's what we asked for. Any comments or questions?
Well, the question I had, they're looking for a variance on the driveway slope,
Yes.
but it's already been constructed, right?
Yeah.
So this is like an after the fact variance.
Yeah. So what happened was when we had it formed up, I called Joel. I misunderstood him in the beginning of building and whatnot, of the slope. I was under the impression that you start off with that slope, but since the road keeps going down, it forced us to do it. So it was basically at the time when I already had the confirmation for the concrete when Joel notified me that it's not right. And so yeah, we just had to go for it because we had no choice, because we'd be losing a lot. And I was told that I could just go apply for a variance and figure it out that way.
Well, and that's what we're doing now, we're trying to figure it out.
Who took you to apply for the variance? Was it Joel?
Yeah.
So Dan, what are the options here? I mean, we either grant the variance or we make them tear out the driveway and redo it all, right?
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if you were here for the meeting, but we talked about this one maybe a meeting or two ago and requested the groove and the driveway as a solution. And I think Wayne also included some rails on the stairs, which I think you've already also included. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks to me like he's doing what we're asking for. If we get those grooves in the driveway in that area, including where it goes up to 15.75. And that's what you're suggesting, right, Dimitri?
Yeah.
Have you done this work yet, or?
No.
Okay. So I think this is what we asked, Patrick.
That makes more sense. I guess with that context, I would have moved to approve this variance request, with the specs that he has in there with the groove driveway and the steps with the railings.
Anybody else have any comments on that motion? Can we get a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks, Dimitri.
All right. Thank you very much.
Item 3. Is that Chad?
Yes, that would be mine.
30 Jubilee?
Correct.
Okay. It looks like you're adding some parking in the front. Is that right? Yeah,
I
you're
thought it
changing
was already on the original landscape plan that we were going to do some gravel parking on the side, right away on the side of the landscaping, and then we changed. The clients and the owners had us change the front landscaping a bit to put grass up there with planter beds. So Joel requested that we just send this in as a revised revised landscape plan, so you guys have the most current one upon us being able to go for our full final.
Why do you need the extra parking in the front there? It looks like, is that a 3-car driveway?
It's a 3-car garage, but you're only coming in, and it needs for additional guests and keeping vehicles, and when vehicles pull in to deliver, they can pull off to the side. And it's just matching almost every existing house down the side of that whole road, because that's a one-way and kind of a tight road. We cause a lot of chaos at times having to park on the road to get working vehicles, or just when guests come and with a little extra people. It's more of a added convenience for all the tenants or the owners down that road, to give them free access, because a lot of golf carts go up and down that road too.
Yeah, I think generally we don't approve that kind of thing, but we do visit the sites and look to see what's typical in that neighborhood, and that is a typical thing in the neighborhood. And I think we like the designs you have for the landscaping also. Any other comments, anybody?
Joe Jean, do you have any comments on it?
Since I live pretty close to it, I have to agree that most of the houses on that side of the street have parking areas like that. His is a little wider than most of the others, but it's not that big.
I went out and looked at it and I thought it blended in pretty good. And I think people are going to park in that, whether we call it parking or not. I mean, the left side of the driveway had mulch, and I think that was the original plan. And I think that ultimately would have looked even a little sloppier. The mulch kind of spreads out all over the place. So I thought what they had there was pretty good. And I agree with what they said, that that driveway or that road's pretty narrow. So it's really not, at least to me, didn't look like it was a parking area. It looked like it was just sort of an area to pull off and park in front of the house and jump out and throw a package out. And it didn't strike me as an area that I would look for as a parking spot if I was trying to park in that area. So I thought it looked.
Well, a lot of people park in those kind of parking areas. Isn't that in the right of way as opposed to on their property?
I believe it's a combination.
It would need to be approved by Sudden Valley.
Yeah, we look at it to see whether it looks like it fits in the area, but then Sudden Valley, our maintenance people, decide whether it works in that space physically. So I mean, this is the reason we go to these properties. We want to see, does it work? Does it visually fit in with the rest of the community? And in this case, I think the whole committee agrees that it does.
I'll move to approve as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, sounds good.
Thank you,
Thank you, Chad.
guys. And we're excited to start 4 more in there this year on you guys.
We'll see you soon.
Yep. June 1st is coming quick.
It is.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Item 4, 11 Sandick. Do you say Sandick or Sandwick?
Sanwick.
All right. Okay. This is Carol and Jim.
Yes.
Yes.
I think we talked to Jim yesterday. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about this project.
Well, it's essentially an age-in-place project. We have 26 steps to get up just to our car, which is more than 14 feet, like climbing a 14-foot ladder. And we're aging here, and our current parking structure is not very safe. It's got a big crack in it, so we have to replace that. And this new project will be a 2-car garage approved by Whatcom County Planning. And the variance was approved as well, the setback by Whatcom County Planning. This project had been approved by Sudden Valley Community ACC in November 23rd, 2022 previously. So we're, because of a number of factors, we've had to delay this, including the civil on it, and so we've got that approved. Whatcom County Planning has recently reapproved this project, and permits will be issued starting June 1st, which is the first date you can build near the lake.
Yeah,
There,
the whole watershed.
yeah, so we're looking, after over 4 years of getting this through with all the variances and conditional use permits, we're looking forward to getting a garage.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a good plan. Joel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What would the variance be for the frontage with on the eaves?
So I think in the variance, this plan is 5 feet. That's what's detailed, but I think that's measured 5 feet to the wall, because that's what county usually measures to.
Mhm.
And then, but Sun Valley would measure to the eaves, and so if there's a 2-foot eave on the overhang of the garage, and that's what I had seen was measured on the plans, I think then the variance then is 3 feet for Sun Valley's setbacks, front setback. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about that. I mean, I'm sure you get trucks there and things, and that's, I'm not aware of any variance, a 3-foot variance on a property. I mean, that seems a little extreme. You know, obviously we went to the lot and we saw that, you know, it's typical to have the spaces right up close to the street. I'm just a little concerned about the safety issue, because that's even closer than the 5-foot that we would offer as quite a variance in the first place. Is there any precedent for that, do you know of, Joel, in that area? I mean, is that a concern that we should be thinking about?
I mean, I think, well, yeah, I mean, I think you do need to review the variances. I know the neighbor, I think Jim has a neighbor just down I don't know if it's an immediate neighbor or a couple of houses down, who does have a carport that's similarly close to the road. You know, I think it's important to take in under considerations of the area. You know, he's right there near the end of a cul-de-sac.
Right.
And I think it only does serve maybe 1 or 2 other driveways, but
Yeah, there's our
it's
next door neighbor.
falls under ACC's purview.
Yeah.
Our next door neighbor to the north is right on actually his eaves overhang the boundary line on his roof of his parking structure. There's the roadway is 15 feet wide here. It's actually on the survey as designated for 30 feet wide, but there's plenty of room for the trucks. We get maybe 20 to 25 total vehicles and pedestrians in this cul-de-sac a day. So it's pretty low traffic count.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that area is very congested, and the buildings are right up close to the road, and it's kind of expected because you're sort of cliff dwellers on the lake.
Yeah, it's precipitous right from the roadway there. That's why,
Yeah.
you know, it's an 18-foot differential from the foundation of our house to the road grade. So, you know, it's kind of like, that's the place. There'd be no parking there if it wasn't for that space that we already have a parking structure there.
And you definitely need some improvement on that parking as it stands.
Currently, at this point, we have no parking really for our house. Fortunately, we have the lot next door, and that's where we've been parking.
Oh, so you can't even use that driveway? Is that you have?
No, the slabs, when you looked at it, the slabs were slanted because they're falling down into it.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
it has if you could have come around to the other side, you'd see the crack is widening to several inches. So it's not something that's safe for us to do more than put our recycling bins there, that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah,
After
But-
41 years, it's got some structural issues now.
you know.
yeah.
Can't even use it for parking.
And I'm going to, this is Carol, obviously. I'm just going to point out, this has been 4 years of hard frustration for us because it's been bringing things to the county mostly and then they'd say, no, you have to do this, you have to do this. So it's taken us 4 years and $42,000 and we haven't gotten any changes. $42,000 in surveys to make sure we were meeting water, shoreline requirements and so on, the architect and everything. $42,000 and we don't have a garage even started there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, we are very reluctant to hand out variances and we ask for a very compelling reason for us to offer one. I mean, in my mind, I think this is a very compelling reason. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah, I went out and looked at this and this is a big project. Made me, when listening to Carol's story, makes me glad I have a garage. I don't have to start from scratch.
Kind of an American Disabilities Act for us because we're in our 70s. I mean, I am, and
I turned 70 this year.
it's I go to rehab I'm not rehab, but physical therapy tomorrow, and I've been there 3 prior times. It's getting kind of hard for us to age in place here now after 40 years of
Well, so we're gonna need to know from your doctor too then.
I'll get one tomorrow.
So Dan, in this case, would it be a motion to approve both the new construction and the variance?
Let's see, how does that?
Looks like there's an application for new construction and an application for a variance.
Yeah, I think we could approve. Yeah, I think so. You want to make that motion, Dan?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Good luck with that.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you
for
very
your
much.
volunteering as well.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Item 23, 6 Yearling Place. Our old friend Luke.
Yes. So
Hi, Luke.
I changed after our last meeting. It didn't seem like a enclosed structure was a viable option. So I simplified it to just a simple pad, gravel pad with a visual screen around it as far as a privacy fence. I did speak with Mike. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did. I lost you. I thought. I did speak with Mike, the maintenance supervisor, about the culvert drain. He had come out, took a look at it, said there was no problems, and walked me through exactly what Sudden Valley needed with the plastic corrugated 12-inch diameter drain with the wrap end pieces and the 12-inch overlying cover of either topsoil or gravel, matching surroundings. So that's where I put as far as the culvert to cross over, and he gave me some locations for purchase and such as well. And we talked about cleaning out the existing from the old, kind of where it's grown in to enable good water passage and such. And then from there, I looked at what the Sudden Valley ordinance was for the retaining wall, and with brick not being option, it said that wood that is appropriate for contact with topsoil which is why I went with the pressure treated at a tapering following grade of about, I think it's 12-inch up to 4 feet. And I think 4 feet is actually even more than what's necessary. It would just depend on once I flattened out the pad. I just wanted to overwrite, but it's probably closer to a 3-foot barrier that would go in that back corner area. And then for surrounding, total height would have a bottom board to be built kind of as a bottom plate, and then a 8-foot standard cedar fencing surrounding, similar to what someone might put around a propane tank or such for a privacy fence, with the dual swing in front barn door style, just open and close. To add additional view obstruction, my wife's been asking for some fruit trees down in that area. So doing fruit trees as well as a mix of evergreens just to keep it within the conifers of the area. So matching that as well in that grass zone.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what this is. Is it a carport? Is it
no, it's just
accessory
an open
structure?
It's just an open fence around that pad that to enclose the the travel trailer, so you wouldn't be able to see it at all. So essentially, it's just a privacy fence area tucked back in the woods.
Yeah, and what are the rules? And I couldn't find anything real clearly on this. What are the rules in the association guidelines around storing RVs, et cetera, on site?
Right now, oh, go ahead.
It's not allowed as far as I know. We're trying to help them out by finding a solution that might be amenable to neighbors and generally the whole neighborhood. It's generally not allowed. I mean, is there a reason why you don't want to store it somewhere?
Yes, because I'd like to store it down at Area Z, but it's a 5-year waiting period to get into a spot. Sudden Valley is trying to work with developing a new storage area out by the old airport, but from what I've learned, but that is not something that has been approved yet. And otherwise, it's quite far away to be bringing things back and forth. If I had the option, I'd certainly love to just store it down at Area Z, but that's not really an option at this point. So it removes one more from the waiting period. I have the property available. It would be tucked in, so it wouldn't be a view, kind of negative view. I've spoken with my neighbor over in that area. He is fine with it. And so it's a way of removing another waiting spot for someone that lives over, say, over by the lake that doesn't have property available to do it. And if there was availability otherwise, I'd certainly go with that option, but that's not a case.
I have a question on page 4 of 6 under item 23. It shows 3 lots.
Yes, I own 3 lots that are combined into one total lot. So it's about a half acre. I think it comes out to 0.48 acre.
So those are now separated. Those are all, the lot line adjustments been done. Those are all one lot.
Yes, that was done prior to me purchasing the house 7 years. I think it's been done probably about 25 years ago from the original builder. Bought the pieces and then combined it.
I guess my main concern is that, we're solving one problem, but creating another one. I mean, to me, this is getting to be like an ADU, another accessory structure on your property. You got a concrete pad in there. You've got
No, it's
fencing.
not concrete. It would just be the duff with the gravel covers. So no, I would not be pouring concrete.
But if we don't allow for trailer storage, then we can't approve this, can we? I mean, this is a slippery slope. If we allow one, then we got to start looking at all these requests for trailer storage. I mean, I'm sensitive to the fact that Area Z is full, but I don't think it's the association's responsibility to provide trailer storage for everybody that needs it. I mean, there are other places in Whatcom County that you can store trailers, so I'm not insensitive to the fact that, you know, if you can store it on your property that's in compliance with the guidelines and what everybody else around is doing and required to do, then we should allow it. But I don't, this
Well,
seems to
as
me
you
like we're just
said,
making an exception. We're making an
as you
exception.
said, following the neighborhood aesthetics people, it's common practice for over in our corner or area to have different spots where, as compared to the other side of Sudden Valley, plots are larger over here. They're more accessible and such. I'm requesting a spot tucked back where it's not, it will be out of view. It's been approved by the neighbors. I hear as you're saying, but it's also taking into account the general living environment over here as compared to, say, the tight confines of other areas in the golf course, which is the benefit of this corner of Sudden Valley.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's a valid point. My take on that would be if there's going to be a variation on that, like if we're going to allow trailer storage on certain lots, then maybe the board needs to take this up, and maybe we have to give some guidance to that, but maybe the board needs to take this up as a policy that you allow trailer storage on lots that, you know, we've got criteria for building a structure, you know, can't be more than a percentage. It can't have this, it can't have this grade. So if there's going to be a policy that allows for trailer storage, I'm reluctant just sitting on a committee like this to just do piecemeal actions on this. I think maybe we refer this to the board and say, how about the board decide if they want to do trailer storage? And if they do, what's the criteria for that? And then our job is to review whether that meets the criteria of the larger policy. That's my thinking. I'm concerned that we're doing a piecemeal approach to this.
Yeah, I think when this first came by, we denied it, and we were hoping that there could be some good solution that we could help them out with. You know, we're always trying to help people out. We're not trying to be draconian with these guidelines that we work with, but it looks to me like this is becoming another structure. I mean, you're putting in a culvert, a pad, a gate. I mean, this is.
Well, that was, I'm happy to go less and make it even less of a structure. It was my understanding from our last conversation that you wanted some type of fencing or something to block. I'd be happy to do just forested as well, essentially however you would like. Really all I'm interested is just having the flat spot, and then as you wanted the retaining just for that slight slope right there, I'm happy to do it however you would like.
How long have you lived at your residence?
7 years.
And how long have you had a trailer?
It's a new purchase about a year ago.
And where have you kept it during this time?
Down below, where I've been doing some remodeling the inside. It's been actually quite nice. Talking with the neighbors, I've gotten to meet everybody. People are very encouraging on it.
Well, the bottom line is it's not allowed in Sudden Valley to park an RV on your property, and you know, the fact that we were willing to reconsider, you know, some other solutions that you have would really go against what the actual bylaws are for Sudden Valley. So we're trying to help you out.
Sure.
And we appreciate, I mean, you put a lot of effort into this, and you've done what we asked you to, but I think ultimately the committee isn't satisfied with what sort of structure you would put up there.
Well,
I'm not sure it would be an improvement.
As a committee, what would you like for me to do?
I don't know. I mean, we know that it's explicitly not allowed in Sudden Valley. We were hoping that you could bring something to us that I think would mitigate that to a point where we could accept it. I think, and I'd like to hear maybe more of the committee. Any other comments on this?
Well, are we doing a revised changes to the ACC rules, Dan? Isn't the board looking at that?
Yes, they are.
Okay, I think this is something that should be included in there. Do we want to go ahead and approve trailer or boat storage in areas where there's excess room on their property to be able to do that?
Well, that's
And-
not even an ACC policy. That's I think that's a Sudden Valley bylaw, or yeah, it's not an ACC thing.
Right, but I think, I mean, it should go to the board and, to have a decision as to what we want to do on that.
Yeah, I think it needs to be revisited, as Dan pointed out too, because it is an issue. We don't have space in Area Z. I don't understand why we can't get more space. We've got the land. I know a lot of people could use it. And if they're going to have that rule, that they should be able to, here we go. These are rules and regs, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
Yeah. So it's just, it's beyond us. I mean, the ACC was trying to help you sort of hide that, but
That's
But-
what I would do, anything that you ask. That's why having it tucked back in the woods.
No, I know, and I
having-
appreciate
yeah,
that you're-
anything you can do, I'm happy to do.
I'm not sure what I could suggest, and I'm not sure that even if we suggested something, when you brought it back to us, we could say, okay. I mean, it's not allowed.
I know, we lived in a condominium association, and we had a trailer that we traveled across country with every summer. And we're only allowed to keep it 3 days on our property. And then we had to put it in a storage facility that was, a distance away. But that's just the cost of having a RV.
When you were at that condo association, did you have privately owned location that you were able to place it?
No.
No, and I think that's certainly one of the factors where I have the available location that it could be moved back and away by having this availability. I certainly, and it's not something I would certainly want to do, where if I was on one of the small lots, say along, the golf course drive or any of those small locations, where the spot I'm asking is off of a through right away that's off of the main kind of secondary roads or tertiary area. But
We look at all
Yeah.
these things, and one of the big things I think about is, what if everybody in the whole block did that? You'd start having.
well,
Yeah, I think it does say in the rules and regs here, carport or other appropriately screened area. So it's up to ACC to decide if this qualifies as an appropriate screened area, and if you want to allow it based on the intent.
But that says for 72 hours, for less than or equal to 72 hours. That's not a permanent facility.
Yeah, it says shall not be stored or parked outside any garage, carport, or appropriately screened area for longer than 72 hours. So certainly, I mean, he's had this trailer out here for more than 72 hours. But if ACC does choose to, if you're looking at this and you decide whether or not this is an appropriately screened area, then he would be able to park, sounds like, the RV in here.
No, I think the way I read that, they shall not be parked outside of a garage, carport, for longer than 72 hours. So they need to be in the garage. If they're going to be outside of an approved garage, carport, they can
or
only be.
appropriate screened area.
Yeah, but
So I guess that's what I'm trying to create, is the appropriately screened area.
Correct. And my sense is that the committee doesn't think that it is appropriately screened. It seems like it's getting to be a whole other thing, whole other structure. not just to discreetly put up one panel and it's hidden away. It's more
I
like
mean, I can also make it just the front with vegetation, if that would be, I didn't want to submit an underscreened area. I'm happy to do less as well.
I think you've done a great job trying to come up with a creative way to address the appropriately screened area. I think our challenge is trying to figure out what the heck that exactly means and how that could be applied consistently across the community. And I think that's our challenge. So not to disparage anything that you've done, because I think you've done made a great effort to try to work with this, but it's not clear to me. So Dan, I'd make a motion to deny this request and then refer this issue to the board for further guidance on how to address this trailer storage issue. I don't know what that looks like, but maybe just put that as a board agenda that the board can take this up, and maybe they want to come back to us to develop some criteria that can amend the bylaws. But that would be my motion, a motion to deny and refer not this specific case, but refer the general issue of trailer storage, RV storage to the board.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thanks, Luke. I know you're trying. We're trying too.
Dan,
we
may I
just have
add
to say no this time.
So with that being said, what's my next? So you said with the board, do you know when the next board meeting is?
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's going to be on the next board meeting. I mean, this is just one of 1,000 issues that we need to tackle. I don't have any good answers for you. I'm sorry. We're just trying to abide by the rules and help you as much as we can. But
sure,
I'm not sure what I can give you as a going forward. But
getting clarification for what appropriate screened area.
Yeah, and we are looking at our bylaws and rules and regs and ACC policies, and we're trying to firm those up a little bit so that everybody understands them a little bit better. And I apologize for any miscommunications that maybe we had going back and forth, but we're trying to make this work, and I'm afraid it just isn't working at this point. But we certainly appreciate your effort.
Certainly understand the appreciation, but it seems like I'm stuck. But go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. Somebody was going to say something.
No, go ahead, Luke.
Well, it seems like we have the ability under the bylaws, as you said, within a screened area. We created a screened area. It seems that we're looking for making something more clear where it actually has clarification defined to it.
Yeah, I mean that is a real problem in Sudden Valley because we have such a diverse property range and
Certainly.
landscapes and designs, so it's hard to give you a blanket instructions on what you need to do. That's why we're here, and I think my whole team decided that we're willing to consider a screen that you would design, but I think this isn't the one that we could approve unanimously.
And I guess I can keep submitting various screen options, but as a committee, what would you like for a screen? I mean, as you said, that it's
Me personally, I would like to see it be less of a new sort of structure. Maybe if it was something that was closer to the house. That's me personally, what I would be looking forward for. But this seems like a whole different, you've got the culvert you have to put in, you're putting in a gravel pad, you're putting in retaining walls. I mean, that's getting to be quite elaborate.
Well, when you walk the site, there's already a drain there, so it's just covering the drain, which is something that's done for any type of crossing. And the retaining wall, you're not talking about a 10 or 20-foot retaining wall. You're talking about a foot to 2-3 feet.
Yeah, we understand that. I mean, you gave us good information and good. We reviewed it.
It's a very simple change. And if, as far as next to the house, due to the
No, I mean,
layout
the
of
next to the house,
property-
that's just my opinion offhand. The whole committee has an opinion too.
Well, I'd like, so from other members of the committee, how do you define, or what would you like to see as a appropriately screened area? So that we can move forward.
Yeah, that's hard for us to give you information on that, because we all still have to agree with it. And just because Alan has one definition, Dan might have a different one, but and we don't want to send you off in the wrong direction. I only told you what sort of I'm looking for,
Sure.
just as a general sense. I don't want to get too far on having us design what you should do.
Right, but I would just like a direct, I totally hear what you say. You don't want to send me in the wrong direction. I would just like a direction to go with. And
May I
that's what I'm
offer a-
hearing at this point, is that I'm hearing that while it is denied, I don't have any recourse.
I
as
guess
far
the
as what you might be left.
the best advice I can give you is that parking a trailer on your lot is not allowed. If somebody could drive by and not know that you have a trailer, I think that would take you a long way into the right direction. And that's kind of what we're looking for. We don't even want to see it.
And that's why I created what I did, so that you wouldn't see it.
No, I know. And we appreciate that. And, I don't know what else we could tell you at this point. And I will try to see if we can firm up, some guidelines for this kind of thing, because it comes up every now and then. Thank you, Luke.
Hey, Dan?
Yeah.
John Gingrich here. I'm wondering if it might be a good idea to also ask the board if they can clarify whether there is a solid plan for expanding the Area Z storage area. I mean, it involves probably a bunch of things, finances in terms of putting up a new fence, the security and all that business. But if they could maybe clarify so that Mr. Tabor could have some hope that the 5-year waiting period might be much less if there are plans afoot to expand Area Z. That to me sounds like a much more doable solution than the board deciding to change the policy of not allowing trailers and RVs and so forth on properties.
Yeah, I would much prefer that, and at least let us know what the plans are.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll bring that up. Okay, moving on. Item 11, Preston for 19 Inglewood Place.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes, thank you.
Awesome.
Joel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Let's see. All right.
Let's look at some drawings.
Yeah, here we are. So here's what's being proposed at 19 Inglewood Place. It meets policy requirements for driveway, open space, height. There is a variance included with this. I think it's as a separate item on the agenda. And that variance is for the property coverage rule. So Southern Valley policies limit the property coverage to be 35% of the lot square footage and that,
It looks like that height definition is right at the line too, 20 feet.
yeah, we're right. Yeah, we're right at 20 feet. So 10 feet out from the wall,
Okay.
20 feet high. And then, where was I? So that 35%
Yeah,
rule,
sorry.
that 35% rule includes roof coverage to the eaves. And does not include deck and driveway. And other surfaces are included in the open space rule. So with this calculation of our roof coverage, it puts the property coverage at 39.5%. So we're 4.5% over what the policies allow for. So
What's the square footage of this house?
for the interior living space?
Yeah.
Real quick. Let's see. I've got it listed as 2,334 square feet.
Okay, so it's a pretty big, a lot of house for a small lot.
Yeah, well, that's interior living spaces. That's not
Yeah.
just footprint.
Yeah.
That's both floors combined.
In the notes page, 1 of 1, he's got a note there that he's got the main floor living space at 1547. So I think the footprint, the overhead footprint's gonna look more like a 1,500 square foot house. It looks like a pretty small lot.
Yeah, I think this is one we looked at Tuesday.
Yeah, the lot size is listed as 6,438 square feet, and then the footprint, so the roof including the eaves, square footage is 2,542. I think, and that puts it at that 39.5%.
So where's the landscaping view?
The landscape plan looks like this. So all these trees in the back, I believe, are going to be retained.
Okay.
So plantings in the front and on the sides.
So the photo of the retaining wall are just some rocks and that's not a real issue with slope, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think the driveway was not on the steeper side. I think we only have a 50% driveway.
So
I think rock walls are being proposed for that retaining wall area.
Yeah.
Tape wall.
That looks good. I think this is the one where they were proposing the different solutions to the property coverage as far as the eaves go. Is that right, Joel?
Yeah, so Mr. Knutson here is ready to negotiate.
Yeah, this it's we're already pushing the limits on all these other numbers. And to give that much of a variance on property coverage would be a bit extreme, but go ahead. Oh.
Are you asking for comment on my end?
Yes, please.
So the notes that I wrote right there, my initial goal was to build a house that could have the master bedroom on the main floor. And when I worked with because I think there's a demand for that, and I'm trying to find a solution to I guess a market that's not being filled that well. But the designer and I worked together to reduce that main floor living space to a small, the rooms are very small. It's really a pretty compact house, but it is built on a slope, so it ends up with the 2.5 floors. But we just could not squish that house down any smaller. I think 1,500 square feet for that main living, for that first floor, that is a pretty tight quarters for, you know, obviously there's rooms upstairs, but for if somebody that wanted to live on one floor, that's as small as I felt comfortable moving the house. But there are the first option, which I think would be the easiest and most you know, I think would fit everybody's needs the best, would be to remove the roof off the back deck, which would be fine. You know, obviously, you know, there's not a lot of sun back there. There's a lot of rain. It'd be better to have the roof on it, but not, it wouldn't necessarily change the value or appeal of the house at that point. The second option would be to reduce the eaves to 0, which would then put me substantially under the requirement, but I don't think anybody really, it would be somewhat unusual for the character of, you know, I guess Sudden Valley Homes, but and it wouldn't be that great for the wear and tear of the house from the weather. A house with no eaves is not the greatest scenario. So I would really appreciate if you guys would consider just the removal of the roof and giving me a very small, minor percentage of concessions. So to me, I think 3% is, you know, I don't know. To me, in relative terms, I don't think that's very much, but, and it would be greatly appreciated. It would really maintain the, you know, appeal of the house, but you know, a variance is something that's granted, not due or owed. So
Yeah, I mean, we're almost at the limit on open space too. That's, you know,
well, that's what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about
property coverage is your the variance you're asking for.
Correct.
And in the open space, I guess that's the one that includes the decking and the driveway and everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah, my concern is that we're pushing the limit on all these things, and then we're asking for a variance on top of that. Anybody else have any comments about this?
How many square feet would you have to reduce on the main, like just, you have a 1,500 square foot main floor living space? How many square feet would you have to reduce that to stay within the variance after removing the deck off the, or the roof off the back deck?
Oh, I was kind of ballparking maybe about 4 feet off the back or 2 feet off the back, the entire rear of the house, you know. It would reduce probably the master bedroom from, I don't know, maybe we could look at the floor plan there, but it might reduce it below to 10 feet. It would be on the floor plan version. The dining room, I think you could give some feet, but the master bedroom would be, that would be not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I've not seen a variance like that allowed for property coverage. That seems like a lot to me. I mean, we're trying to keep, it's a small lot. I appreciate that. And not much to work with, but it just really fills the lot. I mean, you've got a tall house, then it's going to be a wide house.
Well, the house is only 40 feet wide. I don't know if that's considered
Well, I mean,
wide.
Takes up a lot of space on top of the fact that it's high, a tall house. If there were some give in there somewhere, like if it were a shorter house, we could give you a variance on something else. And these are my opinions, you know.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
like to hear some more.
I'm only asking for one variance. I mean, it sounds like you think that I'm asking for more than the
No, but my only point is that
35%.
it looks like a lot of house for that lot. And that's how I'm seeing it. But
Yeah.
anybody else want to talk about this at all? Patrick, do you have any opinions?
Yeah, I don't see a floor plan to see what the rooms are gonna look like on each of these floors.
Maybe Joel can scroll down on the plan set.
I don't have it in, yeah, I don't have it included in this PDF here. I mean, we can kind of, now it's your framing plan. 4, 5, 6, 7.
So
Shear wall.
you would want to go up because the structural plans are last.
So sheet 1, sheet 2 of 9.
Yeah, so you'd want to, maybe you're missing 5 through 9. Or I mean 3 through 9. Do you have 3?
Let me, might have to, oh, here it is. Hang on, plan set. They're, yeah, so they're individual sheets here.
Yeah, that's the floor plan right there. So it's that if we reduce the rear of the house, that back bedroom would then reduce, it looks like it's 9, 10, 11, 12 to about a 12-foot bedroom, maybe. The family room and kitchen. I mean, you guys can take a look and try to visualize the spaces there.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it would make more sense for a house to reduce the living space than take the eaves off, which I agree probably wouldn't be the best thing for the exterior. It's a lot of coverage, and it's such a tall house when you consider the neighbors right next door. That's gonna be a big building for that
Well,
space.
the house to the right has got the same design, and it's really hard that this house here has 1.5 stories. So to meet the lot, it's very challenging to meet the lot coverages in Sudden Valley if you have all the living space on the main floor, this is the max. And then you don't press the height restriction. When you put a 1.5 story house from the road, then you're right at the 20-foot coverage or the 20-foot height restriction. As soon as you try to, the only other option is to put a living room and kitchen on the main floor and put all the bedrooms in the basement. Then you are, you meet the height restriction really well and you meet the lot coverage really well. However, that is a strangely designed home that is not that appealing to people. So this is like, that's why every house I've ever submitted for Sudden Valley, you're pressing on all of the limits, whether it's lot coverage or height restriction. I mean, it's just the only way to do it. A 2-story house, because all the lots, well, the remaining lots and what's left in the last, say, 5 to 10 years, they're just the sloped lots. And I understand that the lots, what's left of vacant lots in Sudden Valley, they continue to get more and more challenging to build on, and these parameters get harder and harder to meet, which is, it's what it is. I'm not saying that you start changing the rules, but I think a little flexibility on percentages might be warranted at this point in time, given what's left to build on out there. So, and I don't want to go into a different subject, but it's the same problem with the slopes to the driveways. There's going to be challenging situations where the only way to get the remaining lots built out in Sudden Valley is to kind of push the edges or parameters of all the restrictions, which I'm sure you see all the time.
Yeah, I don't want to get on another
Yeah.
point either, but the driveways, we do have a lot of people that are afraid to park in these.
Oh, I know.
25.
And the only point I'm trying to make is that your job and my job is not going to get easier trying to wrap up the last lots, buildable lots in Sudden Valley. And the development of those remaining lots is healthy for the community and the association. And as far as getting dues, minimizing the number of
Sure,
say,
yeah, that
abandoned
that makes perfect
properties
sense,
or
and I agree with you.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, I'm looking at the neighbor next door, down the street a little bit. What are they going to see? What's going to be in their neighborhood?
this
Is it gonna
house is
be a
identical
huge-
to the house to the right. I mean, he has the exact same design and characteristics. The house to the left is a one-story house, so that house is a little different.
But I wonder if they have the same property coverage.
That would be interesting to know.
This may be just my issue. I don't like all that property coverage on a house.
Yeah,
Let's let the other committee members talk about it.
that sounds fair.
Dan?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of seems a little bit like the issue we just had where some challenges with these lots and issues that it's not just specific to one. I mean, we're dealing with a specific case here, but this, they make a good point that if these lots are going to be more challenging to build on, but then again, I don't think we should piecemeal this. I think we should take a look more holistically at, do we need to make changes to these variances? I understand completely the desire to put everything on the main floor. It's a well laid out house. It looks very much like my house, and my house makes a lot more sense to me now. I've wondered, like, why in the heck did you make that room so small? Like, we wish the mudroom was bigger. Like, that didn't make any sense. But now I understand that that builder was also probably trying to squeeze in to get to the code. So I don't know. Dan, I don't have a ton of experience with the history on granting these variances. If it's something that's fairly common, or if it's a pretty rare occurrence, I would defer more to those of you that have been doing this for a while. So
I know that there have been some houses that they required them to, I think, take the gutters off or the eaves off just because they were going beyond their limits. It's something that we take seriously. And I understand that you're in a tight space there. So it's not unprecedented for us to say, take off the eaves, that to meet those requirements, sometimes we ask those things. So it's not out of the question. I would like there to be a better solution rather than taking off the eaves or the roof. But you're saying that the living space would just be too small to make it marketable. Alan, do you have any opinions on this?
Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and prove it. I'm just.
Hey, I do that all day long.
Yeah, I don't have the history to it. My only comment, and it would cast me in a poor light, is where does it say that we have to build on all the lots?
And that's why these lots are left. I mean, they were difficult, and suddenly we're getting a lot of requests for variances because these lots were overlooked for a long time because of the challenges. And now we're getting these challenges in our face and asking for variances. So I don't know where to put the brakes on it. I mean, maybe some lots are unbuildable. Maybe some lots require a smaller house. I mean, this, to me, we visited this lot, and I'm trying to picture that 20-foot house with this lot coverage, and it was hard for me to visualize that as something that I would want for a neighbor. That's how I look at it. I mean, would I want that as a neighbor, considering what restrictions we do have in place for the variances?
Well, I would feel better if the numbers were a little bit more in line.
Would too.
Well, if you what does more in line mean?
Because 35% is the limit.
Right. So with no eaves, it's 33%. With the eaves, it's 38. So to me, we're just splitting hairs, I mean, you either draw a hard line and say no variances for anybody, or you get the stuff that's close, really close, and you say, that's a minor request, you know? It's not like I'm asking, and boy, I just don't know what more to say about it, so.
Well, I mean, 35, you know, we're not saying that it has to be 35. It could be, you know, less than 35.
It
And
could be 0, you know, it could be, don't build a house there, you know,
It could be, but you know,
yeah,
there's a reason why those numbers are there.
I
And
fully understand.
we do consider all these lots on their own merits. I think it's too much coverage.
So was there a compromise where we could not eliminate the eaves, but reduce their size and bring it from 39.5 to, was it 33?
Well, we could eliminate the roof off the back deck. That would be a very minor change. That puts it to 38. And then if you, there's some decorative eaves on the front of the house. I think the eaves might be 14 inches. They could be reduced to 12. Maybe we could get to 35.5 or 36 or maybe 35. I don't know. I mean, but I just don't understand the reasoning behind the precision. You know what I mean? So
Well, I mean, for me, it's 35 is the limit, and that's,
yeah.
you know,
Yep.
why would it have to go that far beyond it?
And for
like
me,
I said, it could be less than that.
If there are limits and there are no exceptions, then there should be no variance requests. I mean, what are we talking about?
There are variance requests because we do visit these properties and evaluate them individually. And like I mentioned in another application, we're looking for a compelling reason.
Mhm.
And it is up to my committee to determine if what you're presenting is a compelling reason. And if you have any other compromise that we could consider.
Well, if you think a 1,500 square foot footprint for the gross living area is excessive, then I mean, we have different opinions on what is
I'm not
too much, or you know,
well,
what's
my
within
concern
reason
isn't
and what's outside of reason, and what a variance is intended for and what a variance is not intended for. So we just aren't on the same page
I
of
understand
understanding.
your
So
perspective and how you need to fit in a certain number of square footages for each room and how to make a house marketable. And I understand and I appreciate what you did for that, but we need to consider the neighborhood and how cluttered a neighborhood looks based on property coverage. That's how we look at it. And 35, I think, is generous. But to go beyond that, it's not compelling enough for me. But again, I am one vote.
yeah. And I think the factor that has to be, you know, kind of considered is the size of the lot. 35% of a 10,000 square foot lot is very generous.
Well, I think that
35% of a 5,000 square foot is unbuildable. You know,
I think it was Alan who pointed out that, you know, who said that every lot has to be built. And I'm not saying that this is unbuildable.
Nope, I agree.
I think there are solutions.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy with the coverage. So I think maybe at this point, could we get somebody to make a motion, please? Maybe Dan?
I've made a lot of motions already, but yeah, I would agree with Dan. It's tough to start granting variances. I mean, I understand these lots are small and tough to build on. If I was walking into this house and I had to give up some space, I might look at the office to study. We don't need those as big as we used to with remote work and a laptop and all that. But that's just my 2 cents on somebody who just bought a house in Sudden Valley that looks a lot like this one. But so I would make a motion to deny and request a resubmittal within specs. So
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
Is that both items?
Yes. Okay, it's unanimous.
That was both for 11 and 12.
Well, I guess they're tied. I mean, well, technically, I don't have an issue with the notion of a new construction, but the property coverage is what I have the issue with. So,
We can't really approve the new construction until we get that other issue.
right. So
So
I
I
would
guess-
say they're tied, and
Okay.
the motion on the table is what Dan presented. So
Yeah.
is anybody opposed to that motion?
No.
Okay, that's
No.
unanimous.
Am I muted right now?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, let's just take the eaves off the house. That'll be the next step. Can you guys approve the construction with no eaves?
Joel, is that a prudent decision?
Well, it's up to. There's no policy requiring any minimum eaves.
Do you have any recommendation on that? Is it something that we should allow?
Well, I mean, like Preston said, you know, if you do remove the eaves from a house, it can affect the, you know, I'm not sure the words he used, the wear and tear on the house, you know, the maintenance, more, right? Having
Yeah.
having rainwater go to the eaves and
Yeah, we get a lot of rain here.
less likely for it to run down the wall if there are.
Well, let's try to stay within the parameters of what the purpose of the ACC is. It's not to determine building standards. We're just trying to follow rules. So
Correct.
like you said, Joel, there's no rule in the books that says anything about eaves. So let's just kind of stay in our lane.
So
Well, the motion-
the removal of the eaves gets it within the compliance?
33%.
Yeah, to me, if they remove the eaves and it gets it within compliance, then that's a builder buyer issue and I mean, I wouldn't personally be too terribly interested in a house without eaves, but I'll let then the builder wants to work through something with that in a different creative way on drainage. If the removal of the eaves, let me ask this question. If the removal of the eaves gets it within compliance, can we amend the motion then? Can we do that on the fly, Dan, or do they need to resubmit that?
I am not sure about that. Diane, do you know?
I have no idea. This has never happened.
Well, practically speaking, I would say that if we can come up with a solution here, I'd be willing to break a rule if that's what it would be. As long as, you know, Joel would be the one that I would defer to as far as whether Sudden Valley would allow this. It sounds like that's not an issue for them. Is that correct, Joel?
Yeah, there's no rule on minimum eave length or a requirement to have eaves, and I know there are
Okay.
houses in Sudden Valley which do not have eaves, and I think something like this has been proposed before on another house.
All right, Preston, well, if that's your solution to get us to 35 or below, I think we could offer another motion.
What's the length of the eaves right now?
I think they're 14 inches.
Could you, instead of eliminating, could you make them 6 inches? Would that put the variance?
I think my purpose right here is to get approval for construction of the home with whatever means necessary, and then I will take a little more time and take a look at possibly reducing the square footage, reducing the eaves, trying to find a more precise solution that is fitting both for me and you. But for right now, I just need to get approval on it to keep moving forward.
Well, I mean, we have to know what we're approving here. Are we approving that you?
Well, currently we're approving no eaves, but I think I still have an option later to
do a
apply
construction
for
change.
an amendment, which would allow me to redesign the house or redesign the eave structure, right?
So that would be a construction change, Joel?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
So
We'll
we
just
could,
yeah, either way, we're going through the process again, or so we'll just, I think that-
Jean?
Why don't we just deny the variance and then maybe approve the construction with comments about that it has to be within the rules as far as coverage, the cover.
Yeah, so you don't have to tell us how you're gonna do it. We could agree that it has to be at 35. We're not gonna grant a variance on that.
and
But
then
we
that
would-
can be confirmed upon the final inspection.
you mean the measurement?
Yeah,
I'm not sure how they determine that number. Joel, do you know?
Sorry, determining which number.
The property coverage?
We would probably do it upon receipt of, so if, I guess if you make a motion to approve it, pending or approve it with the eaves removed or coming within 35% of the property coverage rule, I'm just guessing here that usually will happen, that approval comes with receipt and confirmation of plan. So I think you just have to submit plans to administration here, and we take that measurement and confirm it, and then it will get approved at that point in time.
Let me try this then. I'll amend my motion to deny the variance, to approve the construction, to deny the variance and approve the construction with the construction plans to go to Sudden Valley staff to review for compliance with the criteria of the specs. So, I mean, I think if this was just
property coverage.
Yes, I mean, if this was just if we weren't dealing with this variance, if this was just a submittal for construction and it was all within compliance, we wouldn't be having this discussion, this prolonged discussion, right? So let's try to just structure it that way. We'll deny the variance, we'll approve the construction, deny the variance, and let the final plans be submitted to the staff for review for compliance. And I agree with Preston that if we don't have any criteria or regulations around eaves, then that's not our business to wander into. That's a builder buyer discussion. So.
Okay. Okay, so the motion would be wait, it's hard to do this without the variance. So I guess we're gonna have a motion for each one of these, right?
Yes.
Maybe withdraw the previous motions and start all.
Yes.
Would seem like the best way to do it.
Yeah. So I guess we're approving the application and we're denying the variance.
Correct.
So although the square footage does reflect, you're asking for a variance, is that correct? So the original drawing reflects the 39%. Is that right, Joel? I want to ensure that we're approving the construction in theory, but denying the variance.
Why don't you just say that we approve the construction as long as the property coverage is no greater than 35% and open space is no greater than 50%.
That sounds like a motion to me.
I agree. I'll second that motion.
Well, yeah.
So Joe Jean made that motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, there you go, Preston.
What about 12?
I make a motion to deny the variance for 12. Can I get a second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Unanimous again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody need a break? I could use a break.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
5-minute break.
Sounds good.
All right, see you in a little bit.
And Preston has another one.
Okay, yeah, we'll
Oh.
get back to him.
Sorry.
Diane there? There's 2 Daniel Rodriguez's here. Does anybody else see that?
I only see one.
Really?
Oh. Do you see 2?
I see 2. Yeah, the
Okay.
other one is muted.
Hello,
Diane,
I'm back.
how come there are 2 Daniel Rodriguez's? Do you see 2?
No,
You don't?
uh-uh.
Oh, that's weird.
What have you been drinking, Daniel?
You're seeing double.
Full disclosure, water.
Looks like straight vodka to me.
Joking. At 10:50 a.m.
It's 3 hours too early for that, Georgine.
Oh, boy.
I think it's Patrick has my name on there. That's weird. So nobody, well, as long as nobody else sees it, I'm okay.
All right, so you called this at 10:45, that's what I wrote down.
Okay,
5-minute break.
all right. So everybody back?
And look like Dan is. Bing.
Oh, yeah, there is two Daniel.
See?
Yes.
It's not
You have-
vodka. Take back that vodka comment.
Hey, Preston, are you still on?
Oh,
Yeah, it's Patrick. He's got my name on him.
Yeah, I don't know why you're. I haven't.
That's weird.
How does that happen?
I don't know, but I'm gonna fix it right now.
I don't want Patrick speaking for me.
I think we should all have the same alias.
Just point of clarification, this is water and it's just in a regular water cup.
Yeah.
Other beverages in there. Ice, but not any kind of alcoholic ice.
All right, is it fixed, Daniel?
All right, we are back, and I think we are still with Preston. Preston, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Which one?
We're going to item 22, 15 Gray Birch Lane.
Awesome.
All right, folks. Should I?
Yeah, go ahead, Joel.
After that, or should I just take it away? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Thanks.
So let's see. I mean, so yeah, we got the report. So this one looks like it's all within policy requirements. One conversation I do have with some builders and their plan sets and their architect is when we're looking at the siding on the elevations pages, and a lot of designers aren't, it's hard to know all the policy requirements. And one of those requirements is for concrete exposure on stepped foundations. And so, by looking at these plans and taking some measurements, the plans don't show the siding coming down and matching the existing grade of the proposed finish grade. But we'll make a comment and in my report, and then I'll communicate that to the builder. This will be something that comes up during the final inspection, right? And that the siding should be fully compliant with Appendix G for the rules on exposed concrete specs, even though it may not be depicted perfectly in the elevations pages here.
And that's all very clear in our policies, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then one thing that does that does happen if there are small areas during final that are do come up, it's generally been accepted to paint small sections the body color of the house,
sure,
blended in with the siding. But so I made that comment in my report. But otherwise I don't have anything that's outside the policies. We don't have any variances in this house. So I just made the recommendation for ACC to review spec sheet, paint colors, lighting, etc., and trees.
Anybody have any comments about this?
No.
That looks like much less problematic property. Can we get a motion on this one then?
I move to approve.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is that unanimous? Okay. Sounds unanimous. Okay, Preston, thank you.
Okay, thank you, you guys. I'm gonna log out.
Okay. Item 20. 325 Sudden Valley Drive. Will,
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You on this one, Joel?
Yep, I'm pulling up here. Yep, so again, we've got a house that does meet satisfies all the policy requirements. There's no variances on this one. I recommend ACC to review colors, lighting, etc. And then there are some trees. Let's see. On a site visit, there were some trees on the adjacent property just to the south, which may be impacted during construction. We're pretty close to the limits of excavation.
Joel, for orientation purposes, when you said the trees in the south, do you mean down the hill or
To the south
right?
to the south or the left side of the lot if you're facing the
Okay.
front.
Okay. Left side.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. The north arrow here.
Thank
right.
you.
So then south, I think they're just right over on the edge of the property line here.
Yeah. Yeah. What about those two really big ones? Maybe when we visited on Tuesday, I misunderstood when they're taped off with that plastic tape. Yeah, those two. Are those keepers or are they gone?
No, so when they're ribboned off, that means they're being proposed for removal. And so these ones are depicted here on the plan set. And one of the requirements is for builders when they submit their application, they have trees proposed for removed. They should be ribboned. And then also indicated on the site plan here, or on a landscape plan to indicate which ones would be removed. So when you go on site, you can compare the ribbon trees to the trees that are shown on the plan set.
Thanks,
Well, since we're talking about trees, could we bring Janice in? I think she's the neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to say something about this, Janice? Or are you just observing?
Janice, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yes, thank you. The concern I have is for the trees on the, as you're facing the house on the back right-hand side. And they're there's one that is not ringed or not
taped.
Marked, taped. That seems to be on the property line, and on our property there is a hemlock just a little bit further to the right and then straight ahead that makes me nervous because if the other trees adjacent are taken down and there's bulldozing done there, hemlocks have very shallow roots, and they are the ones that tend to fall if there's a change in the wind pattern. And these big trees coming down will definitely change the wind pattern for the remaining trees. So my question is, is that it?
Is that the hemlock you're referring to?
I can't quite tell. It very well may be.
Yeah, that
Is-
was a ribbon. I put a ribbon over that. The back right corner of the house where the deck is lands right on top of that tree. And
This
it's not,
this one right here, Will.
it
Or
looks like
talking
it.
about this-
Yeah, so you see that stake into that dead stump there. So that's
Yeah.
that's where the back corner where the covered deck is comes down right over that stump.
Is that I think it's one of these two cedars here. It looked like there had been some trees that were
Fallen.
recently
There's a
fallen. Yeah, and
there's a
so they're
bunch of
not.
trees. Yeah, there's a bunch of trees in the back that have been fallen on their own. So I didn't mark the ones that were fallen. So I marked the ones that remain there. Looks like there's a dead stump there that I put a stake into. That one's fallen.
That's the corner of your E, right? Is that right? Right here.
Yeah,
So that cedar tree, this cedar tree is probably this 12-inch cedar that's marked on the plans. Is that right?
it looks like it. Yeah, it's just kind of hard to see. I'm on a small laptop here.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to see which trees they are too. But I do,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, right off the back deck of the house on the right, the house, there is a tree, and I don't know if that's is that a hemlock or a cedar? That looks more like a cedar.
This looks like a cedar tree. Here's the back corner of your house.
Yeah, is that
That's
one?
that's the only tree left in that cluster. When I bought the property, there was no other trees around it. So there's a bunch of fallen trees that I've already mentioned that are just
Yeah.
laying on the ground. And that's the only one out of that cluster that's left.
Is this one coming down?
It needs to because there's a stake there. When I went out there to stake out the house, it's in the way of the footprint of the house.
This cedar tree does need to come down.
Okay.
Right? Correct? Yeah, the one this one was
Yeah.
not ribbon on site. I let Will know he was on vacation. So this one will come down.
I don't think that has a ribbon on it, does it?
It did have a ribbon on it. Someone took it off.
Oh,
And then I believe that this hemlock that's further back is going to remain.
It remains, that's correct.
yeah, that's the one that makes me nervous because when the other trees come down and the wind patterns are disturbed, hemlocks with their very shallow root system come down. So if all those others come down, the wind will change. And the hemlock, which I also think was topped at one time and may have a split top, it needs to come down, I think, as part of this plan.
It looks like it's probably a good, I don't know, 15 feet away from that cedar that's coming down.
I don't know.
Further, we're not going to even be disturbing that drip line of that tree. I don't see a reason for it to come down. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's pretty typical to leave. I mean, that seems like a pretty good distance. If you cut every tree that were within 15 feet of the footprint, it would you'd be clearing the lot pretty often.
It seems to me as if it's closer than 15 feet, but I will say I haven't measured.
I haven't measured either. I went out and did look at it, and just visual estimation looked like it was about 20 feet. Measuring on the plans, puts it approximately the same way. We could go out and shoot a laser at it from where the proposed house corner would be to confirm it, but I do think it is within a reasonable distance away.
Even though it's a hemlock with a shallow root system and the tree or the wind patterns are going to change dramatically.
there's going to be a house built there that will block some of the wind.
Yeah, the house
the hemlock is going to be fine. I'd be more worried about alders. The alders have shallow root systems and they're not very wide. I haven't heard that hemlocks come down very easily.
Yeah, they do. And the two big cedars are also coming down is at the, right on the, up by the street. Is that true?
That's what was proposed and approved by the county, and it's in our calculations. So yes, we got a propane tank going in there, and then we got to connect our cable, which is pretty much on the property line, our shared property line there. So yes, those are proposed to be removed.
Okay, those are big, beautiful, old, over 100-year-old
They
cedars.
are beautiful trees, and I'd like to talk about that a little bit too. Do you have any other issues, Janice? Any
Well,
other
no,
trees?
not at this point, no.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, I think when we went to go visit this site, we noticed those two very, very prominent cedars in the front, and it doesn't seem to be part of the footprint of the house. Is there any other solution we can look at for those propane tanks? Because those are some beautiful trees, and as you can see, the neighbors are already concerned about it. What can we do here?
Well, the cable connection for the cable is right there. So we'd be pretty much, when the trees are big, that means they have a big root system there. We'd be clipping root there. So the canopy of the tree is huge. It probably encroaches into the sidewalk there. I don't see any way. I mean, the utilities there, that's where we need to connect. I mean, if we don't, this house is not going to have internet. And then the propane tank, I mean, we got a private access to the left there to 325A. I mean, if we put the propane tank in the back, I mean, that's a private road. And plus we got the dispersion trench, which is almost the width of the house that goes in there. So we're told to stay as close to the house as possible, but it's not flat there. So we need a little bit of flexibility of if we need to rotate that dispersion trench. So unless you guys see a better solution, I mean, I don't want to get into a situation where you guys deny those two trees and then I go to trench for my conduit and clip a tree and you guys take out of my deposit for a damaged tree.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest solution is just cut them all down, but that's what we're trying to avoid. Because I mean, one of the main things that we look at is we're trying to make sure that any new construction fits in with the lot. It's not that the lot has to conform to the new build. And cutting those trees, I mean, you're already cutting a lot of trees, which happens with construction, and you're leaving the ones in the back, despite any other concerns about them coming down. But I mean, those are really striking. That first thing we noticed when we came to this site is those big cedars, and we were hoping those weren't the ones that were proposed to come down.
Well, so how do you want to go about this? I gotta.
There's no way to build this house without cutting those two trees down.
Well, you gotta connect all the utilities, right? I mean, you have internet at your house, correct?
Well, how do they have internet on the house next door with 323?
So Joel, can you go back to the site plan where I have the color coded lines for the utilities? That orange there is I think it's Xfinity. So there's a pedestal there that's on the property line. So where I kind of show it going towards the property line there, there's a pedestal, and then that's where the conduit needs to go. And then, it goes through one of the trees, and then it's gonna go through the root system of the other tree.
I just find it hard to believe that you can't build this house with the utilities without cutting both of those trees down.
Well, you want to tell me a solution?
I don't have a solution, but I'm just telling you, I find it hard to believe that. You're saying this is an impossible lot to build on because those trees are there?
Does the cable, I mean, is it possible to reroute that cable somewhere else? Go around the trees?
Well, that pedestal there is there to serve these two properties.
Yeah, but instead of running a straight line, just angle it around the trees. You still hook up to that same point.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I don't, I'm gonna clip the root system, even if I go around. I mean, yes, I can jog to the right and run along the property line, but I'm gonna clip the root system. We can leave the trees if that's what you guys would like, but I don't want to be responsible for paying a fine for damage a root system.
Well, it could be supervised by an arborist while you're doing that. Is that a solution, Joel, to maybe have an arborist walk them through getting their utilities around those trees?
Probably. I mean, I know there are ways to trench. I think there's a tool called an air spade where you can, kind of blast out a trench using compressed air. So I've heard of that. I've seen it done for root protection. That might be something that's a viable solution. I'm not sure.
I mean, I can appreciate that these lots are getting tighter and smaller and harder to build on, but we're going to have to come up with creative solutions because, this is Sudden Valley and there's a reason why people move here. It's, people love the trees, they love the lake. We want to keep as much of that as we can. You're going to cut trees down to put this house in, but that's just, that's part of the business. But we want to maintain as much of the really old, I mean, this is almost old growth forest there. I mean, those were huge trees. How big is that big one, Joel? 30 inches or?
I think the plan's marked it as a 50 inch and a 48 or 38 50.
Yeah. I mean, Will, you can understand, I mean, the value that the Sudden Valley has for those trees.
Yeah, but back to what Preston was saying is, everything complies with all the rules. We meet all the limits.
Well,
here.
yeah, it does meet the rules, but I mean, we have to determine whether this house is right for the lot on top of what the numbers are.
Well, it is because it meets all the rules. So is there something that's in the bylaws or in the ACC policies that, I mean, if you meet all the rules and the limits that you can't remove trees just because some of the board members want them there or the neighbor?
Yes, we make that determination.
Yeah, but what are you following? What kind of rules are you following to make this decision?
We are determining whether this house is appropriate for the lot, and there aren't any numbers attached to that. And this is a vote. This isn't just my opinion. If it just doesn't, if everybody's okay with it, I'm okay with it too. But this is something that the ACC, this is what we do. We don't just read the directions, you read the policies out of the book and stick to them. We try to help people, and we also try to determine whether things are appropriate for a lot. That's our purpose at this point. When we're looking at these trees, we know that they have a value to Sudden Valley, and we would like to work with you to try to keep them. If there are solutions where you can keep these trees and build your house, let's look at them.
Daniel, can I ask a question in that regard?
Yeah, go ahead.
And sorry, I was wrapping up a call from work, so I missed the first part of it. We're not looking, there's no variances being requested here. This is just
That's correct.
The issue was boiling down in that previous map that we were just looking at. It seemed like the issue comes down to removing a tree or two in order to be able to trench for utilities, correct?
Yeah.
And the propane tank.
Dan, did you see this lot at all?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't look at this.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we drove by it and
so if
saw
that's
the trees.
the issue, and I mean, if and I think one of the points raised was, well, is there a way to trench around it? And it sounds like Will's saying, well, yeah, we can trench around it, but then there could be implications to the tree with the root system. I think that's not a call that any one of us on this call is qualified to make. That's an arborist call, like somebody alluded to. Right. What could we do? Could it be as simple as like, we are requesting that you trench around that, and we'd like to see an arborist report that trenching is acceptable. And if an arborist says like, oh no, that the proposed the proposed alternative here is just going to be disastrous for this tree, then we can take another look at this, and then maybe there is no other way. But if there's a way to do it and have somebody sign off on that way, then that sounds like everybody's willing to do that.
Well, I
I
mean,
think-
in order to trench, I mean, I know the roots are there. I would clip the roots if I try to trench. And
Well,
go
we
down.
don't know what damage that would do to the tree, and I think Dan's suggestion about an arborist to walk you through that would be appropriate here.
Can I ask Will about the second item he mentioned, which I was waiting to get to, is the buried propane tank. That's in the same area. Is there any other options for that?
Yeah, and that needs to be 10 feet away from the property line and 10 feet away from the structure. So that kind of puts it in the center where it's positioned there.
That's the only place that would fit.
I don't see any other, on the other side, if you go back to the site plan, that's where the rest of my utilities are going. And driveway is probably about 7 feet, 8 feet away from that side property line. So that it's not going to work there.
Is a surface
Power,
mount?
we got water, we got sewer there.
Alan?
Would a surface mount with a privacy screen solve the problem, or is the grade untenable? Or
So an above ground,
yeah, rather than bury it.
yeah, what are the restrictions for that, and would it fit somewhere else? I mean, is there another place you can put it if it weren't buried?
It still needs to be 10 feet away from structures and property lines. So yeah, right now where it's positioned, I believe it's pretty much right by the tree.
Yeah.
I think you can do two smaller vertical tanks, can't you?
Yeah, or
That'll
that.
happen.
Can those be up against the house?
Yeah, those can. So that's
Okay.
an option. They're just very small, but we can do that for the propane.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere here. I think if we could come up with another solution for the propane tanks and see if we can get an arborist to walk you through getting around those trees, I think we could be happy. I
Yeah.
think all the other issues that, I don't see any other issues for this property, but I would like to hold on to those trees, and I think the committee all feels the same way. Is that Patrick?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Just to summarize for me, God bless all developers who want to, build and do it and be within guidelines. All we're saying is there any opportunity to save them is what we're asking right now. And the
Yeah.
arborist will help us feel comfortable with that decision.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. So I'm not sure if we deny as submitted or.
No, we if we could approve with the conditions. I mean, I'd like to start in June, so I can get the foundation in. So if we can, the propane tank is not a big deal. We can just set it on the side, or maybe eliminate it and go with the electric furnace. And then as far as the utilities, once the foundation's in and I kind of see the pathway better, I can get an arborist involved or try hand digging and see if I can get deep enough and not near a root and just stay closer to the property line. So I can work with that and try to do whatever I need to do. But we have a short window in the summertime. I'd like to get this approved with those conditions, and then we'll figure that out.
Alan, do you think you could put a motion together?
I'd like to hear what the chair of the committee thinks about this motion and before we act on it. I mean, I understand what the request is, but can we approve this now, Dan, or is it better for us to deny subject to return with the following? I mean, we meet every 2 weeks. It wouldn't be hard to take this back up 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dan.
Well, you guys have approved with conditions before. I don't see any big problems here. I will keep the trees there. I'll fence around the trees. We won't touch the trees, get the foundation in. And then the propane tank is not an issue.
Well, we need to have a motion that we agree on. If we can formulate a motion that includes all that information, we will, but otherwise we may need to deny as
Okay, well,
submitted.
let's just say we eliminate the propane tank. We won't have one. I'll just go to switch to electric furnace. So no propane tank. And
So
then
what if the issue then, if there's the propane tank is off the table, then the issue is the tree. So Dan, could we have a motion to approve this subject to the change of leaving the trees in? So it's not conditioned, it's just we'll
Yeah,
approve this provided the trees
exactly.
stay.
No, I feel comfortable with that. So that sounds good.
So that way, if the trees, I mean, if there's some reason that the trees can't stay in, the builder's gonna have to come back to us and request that as a subsequent discussion to take the trees out. Right now, this building is going forward with the understanding that those trees will remain.
Exactly.
And,
Yes.
and Will, could I ask a quick question? The whole idea about wanting to remove one or two trees is really just to get a little 1/2 inch internet cable to the house. Is that the concern?
1 inch, 1 inch.
1 inch.
Yeah.
It's really clear to me that there's got to be a workaround for that. Even if you just go up a foot from the driveway and trench a little bit down that way, there's got to be a way of getting around those trees. So I think you'll be satisfied with what the arborist says and what Comcast is willing to do.
Yes, like I mentioned, I will make sure the trees stay there and not impact the tree. If there's no solution, then I guess the buyers will just have to go with Starlink or something. So
I'm sure you'll work it out. So the motion is that we move to. Go ahead.
What about the propane? It's okay to have the propane if it's vertical, it could be up against the house.
He said he's going to do electric.
Yeah,
he's
I'm
doing
gonna
away with.
eliminate the propane tank. If I decided to do the stand-up propane tanks right by the house, I will come back and submit a what is it called? Exterior alteration request or.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, so the
Construction
two,
change.
I'm sorry?
It would be a construction change
Or
request.
construction change, yes.
Okay, so we are essentially, yeah, this isn't the motion, but I just want to restate what I think we're agreeing to here. We are approving the construction, but with the, and eliminating the propane tank and protecting the two cedar trees on the, what is that, where is that, the south end?
Southeast.
Yeah. So could you make a motion for that, Alan?
Sure, I'll motion to approve the application for new construction, provided that propane be eliminated from consideration and the two large cedar trees remain rather than be removed.
Can I get a second for that?
What
I'll
about
second.
the arborist?
Oh, well, if he does do anything in there, he will require an arborist because we're protecting the trees. Anything he does will not harm the trees.
So he's responsible for the trees.
Yes. Good call, Diane.
I have a question. Would it be prudent to, for Will's purposes, to include a vertical propane tank amendment versus the big horizontal one? Just so that if he decides to go with propane or electric, he doesn't have to come back and request it again? Or is that?
Well, we've already got a motion, so let's just
okay.
Go with
I
it.
made the decision, we're gonna eliminate it, that's a change. And
Okay.
that's the way we're gonna proceed.
So all in favor of the motion on the table?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? I'm
That was
sorry.
Alan's motion, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Anybody opposed? Okay, unanimous. Thank you, Will.
All
I
right,
appreciate
thank
you working with us.
Thanks, I'm gonna sign out now.
Okay.
Thank you, Janice as well. She's still
Yes,
on.
thank you, Janice.
Joel, Daniel, someone has joined us. Hi, Ben. Go ahead and unmute.
Hello,
Hi, can you tell us what address you're here for?
7 Deer Run Lane.
Number 16.
Yeah, and you're gonna scare off John on his first meeting if he thinks we go over.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. We get paid overtime though. We get double time for anything over 2 hours.
Extra
Is that what I
donuts?
told you, Dan? I told John other things. I don't want you guys talking together. Let's see.
So that's
Well, let's-
Ben Geckelman, he's the builder.
Okay, so let's go with Ben. All right. Item 16, 7 Deer Run Lane.
All right. This is second to last new construction for this agenda. Does meet all the policy requirements. Some are right near the limit, but it does satisfy. There's no variances. You know, my recommendation is ACC to at least review colors, lighting, etc. And the trees. Let's see, it looks like most of the trees on the lot up front of the house are going to be removed. There kind of is a lot of open space in here, and then the trees at the back will be preserved. Otherwise, I don't have any outstanding issues.
Everybody okay with that caviar color? I didn't see any issues with this. Anybody else?
No.
No.
I see that peppercorn a lot. That must be the color of the year.
I think it's just the trendy.
It sounds cool. Peppercorn
Yeah,
and
I know.
caviar. Jeez.
The dark colored houses.
This is item 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll move approval.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, let's go.
This is fascinating though. My house makes a lot more sense to me now after going through all this.
You'll have to come and see my house. I've got under 1,000 square feet. That's why it sounds so funny to see these huge, well, they're huge in my mind. But
Oh, our house is a monstrosity. I don't know how the neighbors they let it. I mean, I'm sure it complies, but when you look at it compared to the rest of the neighbors, it's like this giant building. It had to be painful to watch it go up, but
you'll have to ask Joe G, and she probably approved it.
no, it was built in 2019, but some of the shapes and sizes of the rooms now make a lot more sense. And our driveway is ridiculously steep and windy. So
oh yeah, they're out there. All right, is anybody else waiting?
No.
Diane? No? Okay.
Your last construction is 24 Cascade.
The builder's not here in the meeting. I texted him, asking him if he'd like to join.
Which one is it again?
Item 13.
Oh. All right, let's go to that one.
Do you want to wait and see if he shows up?
Oh, did you just send a text?
Yeah.
Joel? Okay. Yeah, we can wait a little bit.
Go through some other items and then I'll let you know when he comes in. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Joel, so we're all good for 7 Deer Run Lane?
Once I get So you'll get an approval letter from Diane.
Yep, perfect. Well, that was easy.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Ben.
Very unusual, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Have a good one.
Well, they're playing by the rules. They're easy when you play by the rules.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
tell a friend.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to item 7, stairs and deck. This is one that I think we all like this one. And as even though Wayne's not here, we'll remind everybody that they have to get county approval for this kind of project. But any comments, anybody else?
Nope, I'll move approval.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, unanimous. Item 9, One Ridge Crest Way. Landscaping.
Motion to accept.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in
Or
favor?
approve.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous.
I'm not opposed, just my caveat about not a big fan of turf. I hope we don't start seeing that all over the valley.
Yeah, I read your note there, and it is kind of a separate space. It's almost more like a patio space, and I'm not sure anything would grow there. I think it was the grass was kind of sparse there.
Yeah,
I share
fine.
your concerns.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see a whole yard like that, although I have seen those here in Sudden Valley. But yeah,
I went by and looked at it, and it was, they've already got the hot tub there, and it looks like they're just trying to put a little seating enclosure and probably just a little pet area
yeah,
there.
make it a space, a nice little space. I would suggest maybe a privacy screen behind the hot tubs instead of I think they're proposing a hog wire, but a privacy screen would be nice and acceptable for that space, depending on what sort of parties they're going to have there.
The road coming down is up here, so they'd have to build like a 18-foot tall fence to keep anybody coming down the road from seeing in. So
What happens in Sudden Valley stays in Sudden Valley.
not according to Facebook.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right, so that was unanimous, right? We all voted on that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, item 15, 20 Green Hill
Wait a
Road.
minute, what about 10?
What about
Item
what?
10, item 10. It's the same house.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, there was
About the fence, the hog
Yeah.
wire fence.
yeah. Let me go back to that.
Sorry.
No, that's good.
No,
Thank you.
Yeah.
They did have it staked. If those were accurate, they did have stakes out there that showed where the fence was going to go. So
And it's in the
And it looks
back
like
away
that.
from the road, right?
Yeah.
it looks like it's just going to kind of mirror the side of the house. So
Yeah. I didn't have any issues. Anybody else?
No.
Motion to adjourn. Adjourn.
Hold on.
Motion to approve.
I'll second the motion to adjourn.
I vote yes.
All in favor of approving item 10?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you, Diane. Okay, now we can go to 15, 20 Green Hill Road, retaining wall.
Do we do 13?
We're waiting for Ben,
Oh,
or the builder, correct? Joel?
I don't know if the builder's been, but we're waiting for the.
Right, yeah.
For the builder.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna see if he's gonna show up.
He's responded to me. They're updating Zoom currently. So it'll take a minute.
Okay, so we'll move on then.
Yeah.
Item 13. Wait, no, I mean, sorry. Item 17.
Wait, what about 15?
15.
15.
I'll
right.
move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. Item 17, 23 Spring Road. It's a construction change for a retaining wall.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? Item 18. This is mine.
I'll move to deny.
This is it's actually a carport that was built years ago, and it's got a gravel bottom, and I just want to put concrete in it. So I will abstain and let you guys talk it over. And
Motion to approve. Go ahead,
I'll
Jean Judge.
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm not opposed at all. I just think we should make sure for posterity's sake that the record reflects that you recused yourself from the discussion, so we don't get accused of any sort of nefarious.
It'll be majority and it'll show that Daniel abstained on the minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. All right, item 19, which is our friend John here, my neighbor.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right.
And we're going with the galvanized hog wire? Is that correct?
Yes,
John?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
it
And
can
also-
be
also-
painted
Go-
after the fact, but it needs to sort of cure for a few months. But right now, galvanized is the,
That's fine. We're just having discussions about that and other.
There's
fences.
another one coming up.
Oh.
And as we always say, our boilerplate caveat is don't leave your dogs out, let them bark. Hasn't been a problem with my neighbor, but we always say that whenever somebody puts a dog run in. Okay. Is our construction guy in yet, Joel?
Yes, we have Val.
Val, okay.
Oh, hold on. Hi, Val. Go ahead and unmute.
Item 13, 24 Cascade
Wait.
Lane.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. There we go.
All right, so a couple notes on this project. So we did, and I think my first note there, talking about how the roof line on the front of the house wasn't distinguished from the deck overhanging the garage, and that has that, we did receive an update late Friday that does show the accurate depiction of where that roof line is. It is within that 20-foot setback. And then the deck above the garage, that little overhang is here also within the 20-foot setback. So it does meet all the setback requirements. But it looks a little, so what you're seeing here looks a little bit different than the plans you received for the part of the ACC agenda packet. Other things we've got here, so we have finished floor elevations are given here on the site plan in lieu of finished grade elevations.
There, I sent you a finished grade one as well.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, here it is.
I don't plan, and you look at the note, I don't plan on changing anything. The idea of the house is to fit right into the hill.
Hmm.
Right, so I'm not changing anything.
What else do we have here? So we have this driveway profile showing 14%.
And if you look at the new one, I showed you the I sent an updated one,
Yeah.
and it shows you the height and also the 14 is just the generalized slope because that's what's asked, but that's actually how it's going to so it's like it's 10 and 17 at 6 feet 5 inches.
Hmm. So the one thing though, we don't really know what Val, do you know what the elevation of Cascade Lane is?
Yep. Pat, if you go back to the other one, okay, so go up. Nope, like, or go down, sorry, there we go. So that right there, if you look there, that circle, go to the road, it's 657 feet, basically. It's roughly that. It's about 655, 657, something to that effect.
Okay. Now is that was that given on because I didn't see it on the survey.
No, because it's not asked for, and so but I shot all my own lines, and that's how came up with the numbers for the for where the house goes and everything. We just shot numbers up, and so that's how it's going to go. Because that's where I want my driveway exactly there because I want it to be at that grade.
Okay, other than that, there's no variances. And it satisfies other AC policy requirements. Take a look at colors, lighting.
I was looking at the property coverage. We're pushing it right up to the 35. Did you have to do anything special to get to that number, Val?
What do you mean by that?
The property coverage, you got it 34 point something. And I don't know if you didn't hear our previous discussion. We had somebody asking for a variance for, I think, 38%.
I'm not sure. I thought we were at 28.
What I'm looking at is 28, Dan.
Yeah,
28 property coverage.
Yeah.
Am I looking at the wrong property?
Page 16.
I am on
I'm on
item 16.
13.
3 of 16.
Oh, 13. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe that's what I was trying to tell you about the conversation we had from a different one. Sorry. Proceed.
So the numbers look good.
Okay. Yeah, I even the other ones were fine. I just wondered how you got to that number. Anybody have any issues?
No, as long as Joel's good, I was gonna motion to approve.
Cool.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, sounds good. Sorry for the confusion. So it looks like we are down to 21. Did we do everything before 21?
Yes.
Okay. Item 21, 14 Baywood Court. The variance.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Val, you're done. You can
Okay, thank you.
take off.
I'm out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did Joanne make the motion on that one?
Joe Jean.
Joe Jean?
Joe Jean.
Huh, for a fence? Wow.
And that was unanimous?
Yes.
Thank you.
She's hungry. She wants to go to lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. He still thinks we're on the motion to adjourn. All right, let's go to 24, a tree removal. 36 Jasper Ridge. See if I can get the right one up here.
So it looks like there's decay, right, through the tree based on
I
earthworks.
think, is that the one we got an arborist report?
Yeah.
We already
Yeah,
had, we had the arborist report already.
Yeah, I think that one looked good.
All right, move
Motion.
approval.
Yeah. Dan, did you?
I
Did
move
I hear a
approval.
motion in there?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
move approval.
And
Can I
I'll
get a
sec-
second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous? I mean, anybody opposed? Okay, unanimous. All right, item 25, 28 Granite Circle. Stairs, exterior alteration.
That looked clean to me with the caveat that Wayne has in there. I'll make a motion to approve.
And let me see his caveat.
Is 4-foot permitting above grade.
Somebody read that so I can report it.
He just says in there that if the owner sends permit for structures 4 foot above grade, none required for replacement of existing structure. I don't know what that means, but he seemed like he knew what he was talking about. So.
Somebody needs to email me that because I didn't get it. But okay.
Yeah, let me see what he wrote there again.
I'm looking at the notes in the Google Doc or Google Sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll just email it later and I'll look at it
Okay.
as a comment.
If it's a replacement of an existing structure, though, it looks like he says there's no permit required. So yeah, I move approve.
Okay, let's just move to approve.
Okay.
Did we get a second for that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, unanimous. Okay, item 26.
Motion to approve.
These were the 3 trees we saw the other day. Okay.
Yeah. With the koi pond.
Any other comments other than a motion? Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, boy, we're all agreeable.
We're all
I mean, it does
hungry.
help to have our tour and
It does.
discussion.
It does. Yeah.
Okay, item 27, 5 Doe Court. Retaining wall and driveway. Was this to give more space for the kids to play?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Is it true we have just one more left?
No,
Yeah.
there was 28 and 29, right?
28, 29, we
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Oh, we covered
Oh,
29.
29, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Good call. 28, One Dawn Break Court.
Is this the unreasonable financial burden?
I think
$4,500?
it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
This
is.
was, here's the issue. In my mind, I mean, we don't like perimeter fences, and we usually don't allow them. And I think this was the one where we did allow a perimeter fence. Is that correct? Let's see, One Dawn Break Court. Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
was the first one we went to
yeah.
on Tuesday.
The reason we do request the black and the green is because it is less, obtrusive, and it is in our bylaws or policies for the ACC, we do offer some variances. And we drive around and see galvanized all the time. This is a big fence. And she's also got chain link in there too, which she didn't put up. If this is the one I'm thinking of, am I?
It is. It
Okay.
is. Yeah.
And then she's got a wooden fence too. I understand there's a financial burden putting up, and the very fact that she's putting up a huge fence, which I think is over 200 feet. In our policies, it says black or green. That's all I'm going to say. Does anybody else have any opinions? But it's difficult because we see a lot of galvanized fences up there, and if it's a small fence, I don't usually have a big issue with it. But when it's a whole perimeter, that's when I start thinking twice about it.
What's the purpose of the fence?
Did we ever approve this fence?
Yes, I think we approved it, and she actually gave us her estimate that she got with the black powder coat on it. So she was aware of, the price and everything before we approved last time. And I think now she's second guessing it which $4,500 sounds very expensive just to put black on it. I don't know, but
if she's having it powder coated, it's probably not, but I don't know why you need to have the whole thing powder coated. That seems pretty excessive. Like that's an entirely different process than just having it painted or getting like a galvanized fence with a PVC wrapping that comes on it. Like that's.
Yeah, I think what it says in our policies, it has to be black or green vinyl, which I'm not sure what that means.
It's just like a wrap that goes around it. My understanding of powder coating is like it's pretty permanent. Like it's almost like they dip it, and I've done powder coating on a few things, and it is expensive for small work, and it makes sense for like small features or something. But I'll make a motion to deny.
I'll second that, and I'll just go on a soapbox and go. My first inclination was to deny, and then I got all mushy, and I said, "Nah, let her do." Your first inclination is usually right. So
yeah, and the other factors are that it is a big fence, the whole perimeter, and I think we were generous allowing that, and the fact that there is some the wire fence already that's up there, which and we realize that she didn't put it up, but just let's try to make it look nice. So maybe she can offer another solution to make it black or green, but I think I will go with that motion that you said deny. And all in favor of that? All in favor of that denial?
What was the purpose of the fence initially?
I think that was a dog enclosure.
It is.
Okay.
But it was the whole backyard. So we have a motion on the table.
Did you do it? If you did it, I'll second it.
I made the motion to deny.
Oh, Dan. Okay, I'll second Dan's motion to deny.
All in favor of the denial?
I'm opposed.
You're opposed to the denial?
Yes.
You want to? Okay. All right. All in favor of the denial? Aye.
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 And just Patrick opposed?
I think I'm opposed too.
Okay.
We're denying the galvanized fence instead of. Yeah, I'm opposed.
Okay, so we've got what, 3 in favor and 2 opposed?
That's the.
Yep. And I would, to the extent we have like some feedback with these people, like my denial is based on like I don't think she's got a very good reason. Like I don't think they've explored other cost alternatives like painting the fence or getting a PVC wrapped or vinyl wrapped instead of a powder coated. They just got the most expensive option, so they didn't want to do that. Be a little more creative and come back. And if you still can't do it, we'll take another look at it, but don't just take a one and done shot at it. So
did we approve for John, the galvanized for John?
We did.
We did, yeah. And I did make the caveat that this is a full perimeter fence and that there is visibility from a common driveway. and that there's a chain link fence also. So in order to sort of tie things in a little bit better, I think we'll stick with the policies as stated.
Okay, so the motion was to deny. It
Yeah.
was majority with Dan V, Alan, and Daniel, with Joe, Jean, and Patrick not opposing.
Yes.
Opposing, right, good. All right. And now we need to do number 29.
Okay, this was the new one that I assume everybody got this, right?
Yes.
This was, I think, a construction change.
I'll move to approve.
I didn't have any issues with it.
I'll
Anybody
second.
else?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, unanimous.
The only thing I think we just kind of referenced that, but just in the interest of trying to keep ourselves clean, John, if it's possible for you to make your fence black or green, I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay. It, as I briefly mentioned earlier, it involves letting the galvanized fence, I don't know, I was reading about this sort of cure, and the oils get off of it and so forth, so that the primer and the paint will actually adhere to it. So it should be, you know, a number of months before that's possible.
Yeah,
Does this need to be amended to add a comment?
I think we probably should.
Yeah, I agree, especially since he's new to the committee. That one just blew past me. I'm sorry I didn't catch that, but I think we should require that it be within spec. So it's a fence request, it's not a variance request. So as long as the fence is per spec, then we approved it, and per spec
Right.
is black or green. So
Black or green.
and again, I think that vinyl fencing is, I'm not sure what the cost difference is, but something to look at. So
Yeah, and you do see a lot of that galvanized, and the black and the green definitely look better. And if it's a fairly prominent, we generally insist, and I guess because John would be on our committee, I think that's prudent. Thank you
My
for
neighbor
that
down the
comment,
street-
Dan.
my neighbor down the street's got a galvanized fence around his entire yard, but he used to be the general manager, so I think that's probably how that happened. So
I think I know where you live.
yeah. All right.
Okay, let's adjourn this meeting at 11:57.
Wow, under 3 hours.
Yeah.